The Steam Summer Sale 2025 is here, and in this video I've handpicked 15 incredible games that play great on the Steam Deck OLED. They're all heavily discounted, and in this video I'm going to show you how they run, what performance and battery life you can expect on the Steam Deck, and whether you're into action, indies, RPG or strategy. I've got something for everybody here. Now, there are amazing games that didn't make the list, but these are the ones I picked. Without further ado, let's start with one of the best roguelike games of the year.
Balatro.
First up is Balatro, which is 10% off for just €12.59. This game is basically crack for deck builder fans. It's a roguelike poker game that's all about building absurd synergies, mounting bosses with 10x multipliers, and chasing high scores. It's one of the most battery-friendly games I've tested, and it's got over 6 hours on the OLED Steam Deck without even capping frame rate or brightness. If you're into deck builders and roguelike, this will be your next obsession. Just be ready to lose some sleep.
No, you will become.
Next up, Batman Arkham Knight, 80% off for €3.99. This is still one of the best action games ever made, and somehow it's under €4. You play as Batman at the peak of his power, gliding, punching, and Batmobiling to a gorgeous Gotham. On the Steam Deck OLED, you can play between 40 and 45 FPS on medium and high settings, and it pulls about 25 watts, so you can expect close to 2.5–3 hours of playtime on the OLED, and trust me, it's a great experience. Number 3, Black Mesa, 90% off for €195. This is the definitive way to play Half-Life 1. Originally started as a fan project, Black Mesa has completely remade Half-Life 1 in modern Source Engine visuals with expanded set pieces and a reworked Zen section that no longer sucks. On the Deck OLED, Black Mesa runs at locked 60 FPS on high settings with tons of headroom. It's super stable and has great controller support. The visual upgrades shine on the OLED screen, and you'll get around 4 to 5 hours of battery life depending on the frame rate cap. If you've never played Half-Life and you want a great FPS for less than €2, this one is essential.
Meet Dave, an interesting little human with a precarious...
At number 4, Dave the Diver, 40% off for €11.99. This is the lowest price this game has ever been, and it's one of those games that totally blindsides you. On the surface, it's a charming little diving game with fishing mechanics, but give it an hour and you're managing a sushi restaurant, fighting sea monsters, hiring staff, and diving into ancient conspiracies. It's weird in the best way. It runs like a dream on the Steam Deck, 60 FPS on default settings, and you'll get around 4.5 hours of battery. The visual style looks fantastic, especially during nighttime sushi service and boss fights. It's cozy, addictive, and packed with content.
If you could only find your gun.
At number 5, Disco Elysium, 90% off for €3.99. One of the most brilliant narrative RPGs ever made, and it plays fantastically on the deck. In Disco Elysium, you're a washed-up detective trying to solve a murder while your own psyche fights against you. Every conversation and internal monologue is voice-acted and brilliantly written. There's no combat, just pure role-playing, and it runs at 60 FPS locked with very low power draw, meaning you can get over 5 hours of playtime, maybe even 6 if you limit the FPS. It's introspective, strange, hilarious, and now just under $4, a masterpiece you should definitely get. Next up, God of War, the original one, 60% off for €19.99. God of War is one of the biggest and boldest action games on PC, and the Steam Deck handles it shockingly well. You play as Kratos traveling with your son across the Norse realms, smashing gods and monsters with the Leviathan axe. The game is cinematic, but still very playable on the deck. On medium settings, with FSR set to quality and a 40 FPS cap, it runs smoothly with a consistent frame time and looks fantastic on the OLED. You'll get around 2.5 hours of battery, maybe 3 if you cap the FPS to 30, but honestly, this game plays best at 40 FPS. It's still a very premium experience, even on a handheld.
These so-called Guardians of the Galaxy!
Number 7, Guardians of the Galaxy, 90% off for €5.99. One of the most underrated, story-driven games in years. When you hear Marvel game, you probably think of a fighter or not a very good game, but Guardians of the Galaxy nails the Marvel tone, and it tells its own heartfelt story with amazing banter, set pieces, and music. The team dynamic in combat is awesome, and the gameplay is amazing. It's a bit heavier game, but with FSR and settings at medium, you can hit a pretty stable 40 FPS. If you lock it there, you get around 2.5 hours of battery life on the OLED, which is worth it for how good this game looks and sounds. And at €6, it's easily one of the best deals on this list. Next up, Lies of P, 50% off for €29.99. This is a Souls-like inspired by Pinocchio that I recently reviewed on the Steam Deck, and it doesn't sound like it should work, but it actually runs fantastic. It has tight combat, creepy gothic visuals, and a unique weapon crafting system that make it feel both familiar and fresh. It is very demanding, so you want to play on a mix of low and medium settings with FSR set to balanced, but you can reach 60 FPS and even more. It's definitely one of the more optimized games on this list, and it's very smooth and playable on the Steam Deck. My recommended setup is low and medium settings, and it will give you around 2.5 hours of battery. Not ideal for long sessions, but if you're a Souls fan, this is a must pick up. One of the most underrated games is next, Mad Max, 85% off at €2.99. This game has aged like fine wine. Mad Max is a gritty open-world brawler with great car combat and a hauntingly beautiful wasteland. It's lightweight performance-wise, and it runs at stable 60 FPS on high settings without any tweaking needed. Battery life is also solid. You're gonna get more than 3.5 hours, even 4 hours if you cap it to 40 FPS. It's got full controller support and it feels perfect on the deck. At under €3, this is one of the best open world game deals on Steam right now.
Detective Narvin.
Next up, Mafia, the Definitive Edition, 85% off at €5.99. This remake of the 2002 classic is stunning. Mafia isn't just a GTA clone. It's a focused, story-rich game with strong characters and a cinematic style. The driving and shooting feel great, and the world is beautifully recreated. On the deck, you'll want to run it at medium settings with FSR set to quality and cap it to 40 FPS for a smooth experience. Battery life is around 2.5 hours depending on how much city driving you do. It feels surprisingly premium on a handheld, and the story alone makes it worth the price. At number 11, I have Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition, 80% off for €3.99. Ori is still one of the most emotional and visually stunning platformers ever made. The movement is fluid, the combat is tight, and the music will absolutely grab you. It runs at a flawless 90 FPS on the OLED with basically no impact on temperature. Battery life is excellent, 5 to 6 hours easily. If you love performance or Metroidvanias and haven't played Ori yet, now is 100% the time to buy it. This is one of the lowest prices it's ever been, and it plays amazing on the Steam Deck. Next up, Red Dead Redemption 2, 75% off at just €14.99. This is again one of the lowest prices this game has ever been, and Red Dead 2 is one of the most ambitious open worlds ever made. Yeah, it works on the deck pretty comfortably. You'll need to tune it a bit, FSR unbalanced, medium and low mix, and a 30 FPS cap, but this will give you a solid experience with surprisingly few stutters. Battery life isn't amazing. Again, this is a very heavy game, but you can expect about 2 to 2.5 hours. And it's a miracle that it even runs on a handheld. It's a bit older now, but this one is an experience that everybody should check out, and at this price, it's a great pick for the Steam Deck. At number 13, Slay the Spire, 75% off for €5.74. Still one of the best roguelikes on the market. Slay the Spire mixes deck building with dungeon crawling, and it's dangerously addictive. The gameplay is smart, the synergies are deep, and no two runs feel the same. It's super lightweight, and you can run this at 60 FPS or 90 FPS with no issues, and the OLED screen makes the art pop. Battery life is about 6.5 hours, no sweat, and it's perfect for quick sessions or deep marathons. Plays perfectly with a controller, and it's amazing to play it on the Steam Deck. Getting near the end, Stardew Valley, 50% off at €6.99. This isn't the lowest price it's ever been, but it is a pretty good price. Still the king of cozy games. Stardew Valley lets you build your farm, make friends, fight monsters, and chill at your own pace. It's got tons of updates over the years, and it still gets new content to this day. On the deck, it's perfect, 60 FPS locked, minimum power draw, and 7 to 8 hours of battery life on the OLED. You can cap it to 30 FPS for even more longevity. It's perfect for winding down or passing time during travel.
Are you sure it's her? Yes.
And finally, I have The Witcher 3, 80% off at just €5.99. One of the best RPGs ever made, and it runs surprisingly well on the Steam Deck. You can stick with the DX11 version, use FSR unbalanced, and a 30 FPS cap to balance things out. On those settings, it will stay consistent and look incredible on the OLED screen. You can run it at 60 FPS on lower settings, but if you just want to bump up the visuals and stay at 30 FPS, you're still gonna have a great time. Battery life runs around 2.5 hours, maybe 3 if you treat shadows and foliage, and you're still getting the full Witcher experience on a handheld for under €6. That's insane value, and it's amazing to play it on the Steam Deck. And that's my full roundup of the 15 best games to grab during the Steam Summer Sale 2025, all tested on the Steam Deck OLED. There are a ton of games that couldn't make the list, but still run great on the Steam Deck. I wish I could name all of them, but this video would be an hour long. So let me know in the comments what other games you're picking up during this sale. Put a link in the description for my video on how to find the best deals during sales. That's gonna be it for this one. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more Steam Deck content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.